Everybody, welcome back to Couch Critics, where Dave and I talk about things we've been watching and other shenanigans, all in and around pop culture and entertainment. I'm your co-host Josh, alongside, as always,
It's me, Dave. What's happening, my friend? How you doing?
I'm good. I realized just now, as I was saying that we don't have an intro.
We who needs one? Who needs one? I don't know about everybody else, but I skip the preamble if I listen to the show. So
I
usually
just
it's
make
about
it's
five
every
minutes
time
in.
as I watch the countdown, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm like, all right, that sounds good. We'll say that today.
Even to the fact that I say pretty much the same thing every time, which is "How you doing,
Right.
Josh?" Like
Yeah.
what's the deal? But
It's a new day.
whatever. It's what happens if we don't have Wednesday night pre-production meetings and Thursday night
You
post
know,
pre-production meetings, and
no,
you know,
you mentioned that, but it's so true. We don't do any of that. We're very fly by the seat of our pants, but like the Schnozcast guys that they do
yeah, they
a
put a lot of
production
work in.
meeting and
Yeah.
all that, and I think that's awesome. I don't have God, I don't have the energy for that
Yeah.
midweek.
I
Woo.
don't know. I'm a terrible actor, I think, too. So,
Well, and I don't know, and I definitely don't want scripting. Letting everyone behind the curtain. 90% of our production meetings are just quick texts back and forth about
Mhm.
watching this, you watching that. Oh, hey, did you see we got 2 new subscribers in the last 27 days? Woohoo! But that's for us, that's our production meeting. That's how we
Yeah.
prepare for this. We go about our week, we watch what we watch. We Now will I reach out to Dave? Will Dave reach out? Hey, I watched this, you gotta watch this movie.
Yeah.
100%. That's
You
absolutely
never
gonna happen.
listen, but that's okay. I still say one battle after
One
another,
battle after
but I
another.
watched that again this
Yeah.
week. But you know,
I will watch. I just
I
haven't.
paid for it in a digital format, knowing that it's not mine forever, and I'll
Right.
still buy it on Blu-ray
And
or
that you're gonna
whatever.
buy it on
Yeah,
DVD when
whatever.
it
It was
comes out.
cheaper than going to the theater, so you know.
Yeah, and no, and I'm totally gonna watch it. But it's things like, well, last week you mentioned in their conversation on the show that you watched Body and Soul,
Yeah,
the Oscar Me show, with Paul Robeson and so many other. And normally there's almost always a movie comes up during the course of the conversation that I then want to go watch. But
right.
that one wouldn't go away. I went out and I immediately pulled it up and watched it. Like
It's
as soon
good.
as we got done. And it is a really good movie. It's
100 years
very
old.
limited in his abilities with the camera were very limited. But
Yeah.
Paul Robeson as the dual character, freaking amazing. But
Dual character is I know that's how they sold the whole thing, but really the other character seemed like he was only in like two scenes for almost no
right.
reason. But that's
But
okay. I I,
but
I hold back. But it's
I
the same
yield
thing.
back.
I yield back. But sometimes those silent movies, you got to catch them when they're around. That's one thing I've learned in this film rewatch and research and things I've been doing over the last 5, 6 years, especially. When a silent movie, just like some other collector's edition or cult classic movies, when they're around, that's the time you have to watch it.
Right.
Because sometimes they're either very hard to find, unreleasable, or the version that's going to be on like TCM or HBO Max or some other streaming service is
Yeah.
going to be the best version, and you're not going
Hmm.
to be able to find that again.
Right.
It
Absolutely.
strike while the iron's hot kind of a
Yeah.
thing. So that's what
And
Body and
that's
Soul is.
exactly why, like, I there was actually a movie that I got to watch just this last week that is that exact thing, and it was another silent movie from 1925 called Curses. Have you heard of this movie?
I don't think
Curse.
so.
So Curses, it is very much it's a parody of the early silent melodramas. It follows a kidnapped heiress, the outrageously evil villain, and the goofy hero. Very typical silent film setup, but everything intentionally leans into those overwrought, the silent film conventions, the big facial expressions, the
Right.
wide eyes, all of that. The plot is 100% there in service to the slapstick. But the reason why this movie was so important that I had to watch because it was there is because it was written and directed by a man by the name of William Goodrich. Are you familiar with William Goodrich?
Yeah, it's a pseudonym for
It
Fatty,
is
right? Fatty
it was Fatty
Arbuckle's.
Arbuckle. Fatty
Mhm.
Arbuckle had been blackballed from
Yeah.
Hollywood, so he came back with this
I
name.
don't know if his
It,
balls were black, but
I don't want to get into
He
those
definitely has
allegations,
some
but
sexual stuff that he
just
enjoyed.
just the fact that
Proclivities.
this and the idea for William Goodrich was it's will be good.
Yeah.
I'm going to be good.
Yeah. I
That
thought
was
it, I could be wrong, but also isn't part of that his dad's middle name or something? I couldn't remember. Maybe I'm
yeah,
mistaken.
it definitely is, but
It's a family name
it's a
somewhere in
family
there, but
name, and it had that dual meaning of, hey, I'm going to be good. Please let me back in.
Fatty Arbuckle truly represents the kids away from home college version of Hollywood, where it's the
Yeah.
first time they're in a big dorm room
Well,
together and no parents,
yeah.
no real supervision. He represents that time period where sex and drugs and everything, it was just bananas, the stuff that they could do. Anybody who
Right.
wants to know, watch the movie Babylon. It's in the first 30 minutes. I love that movie. But that's really what happened. There wasn't really anybody telling them shouldn't do these things. They were just silly
Right.
making these little movies,
Well,
and all of a sudden money was rolling in. It was a party the whole
yeah,
time.
and his it was the whole thing, the death of Virginia Rapay and everything with Fatty Arbuckle. Not to get too far into all that, it was that happened in September of 1921. But what preceded that was him signing the the extension to. So he had signed with Paramount for something like $3 million for a 3-year contract with Paramount. This one was the newest contract. And I think it was that he signed with Paramount. It was $2 million a year
It's a
to
lot.
be their contracted star.
Right.
And he just went with his buddies to go party up outside of San Francisco. And yes, it's very much like it was the 1921 version of
They cover it in
sex orgy.
They
And
cover
do,
it in
absolutely,
Babylon. Like they
and
use
whoever that actor is that they get to play Arbuckle,
Yeah.
he does that sheepish grin thing
Yeah.
so well in
Yeah.
that movie. But
there's a bunch of
yeah,
shows much more in depth and better about the Fatty Arbuckle stuff. Anybody who's really curious,
Yes.
Fatty is a very good book to kind of
yeah,
go into
there's-
an account or a version, like, you know.
I read, so I Fatty is a great one. I've read that one, but there's also another one. I can't, Room 1410 or something to that effect. That's all about that night, and it's a great book.
Right. So how was he as a director? I imagine good, because he was directing most of his shorts.
He was
anyways.
he directed all of his stuff with Mabel Normand. He directed all of this.
With Buster
but
Keaton
this
and
is
all those
very
things.
much he's right in his wheelhouse. But the reason it doesn't work is because Al St. John is not Fatty Arbuckle.
Okay.
Al St. John isn't Buster Keaton. He's not the
Doesn't have that spark.
everyman that it doesn't have the spark. He's not the big thing. It's only 12 minutes long, so it is easy to consume. It isn't over.
As a lot of, especially the silent comedies, the single reelers, they call them.
Yeah. And Al St. John was a very rubber-limbed kind of comedian, so he was going to be the pratfall guy.
Right.
But he didn't have the stone face. He didn't have the everyman. He didn't have the tramp. His character didn't read the way the big...
You ever watch those, especially because of how a lot of the silent actors, especially the comedy actors who invented this industry and this concepts and stuff, were kind of relegated to the background or just cast away so quickly by the studios as more money became and all those things. When sound happened and destroyed Buster Keaton and almost Harold Lloyd, and Charlie Chaplin leaves the country, and all these people are just devastated. Do you ever think how amazing it would be if you could tell them in 100 years we'd be talking about them? And I'm currently watching their stuff on a regular basis. Like I would imagine, because they also thought everything they were making was fairly disposable.
Yeah,
I think only Harold Lloyd thought, well, I'll keep it for now, but he didn't have any idea that somebody would want to watch it later.
Well, and and it is 100% the reason why so many silent films and early talkies are now considered lost.
Yeah, well, they just didn't give a shit about them. They would deteriorate.
They wanted the silver out of the...
Speaking of, I had this really great idea to use AI to fill in. I'm just kidding.
We talked about that online.
We did. And you have a good post about that. I truly think that's a really great use, because it's not creating new material. It's almost like filling in the gaps in the existing material.
Yeah, and we got some really good feedback on that post. And somebody made a mention that I really liked, that if a studio is going to do it, so let's say Paramount decides that they're going to go back.
I don't like the idea of a studio doing it, because they'll insert like Coca-Colas in Buster Keaton's hands everywhere.
Yeah, for money.
You know, they'll digitally replace their with walkie-talkies, stuff like that.
the Academy Museum is going to do it.
Right.
We'll say
Internet Archives, Academy
yeah.
Museum, Library of
Let's say the
Congress,
Academy
any of those
Museum in
restoration.
association with the UCLA Film School.
Yeah.
They're going to do this. Somebody made a mention that they need to build their own AI that only takes from their archives and doesn't use public material.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was like, that's a great point. I'm 100%.
You're like, I don't remember Shirley Temple in this movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. And then because the other argument that people were making, and it's a totally valid argument, was that like AI will not be able to, like, it's not gonna be able to make the decisions that the actor made and do things the way the actor would have technically done it.
But so often, though, they have the scripts and they still have a lot of the written materials or records of the written materials. So it'd be recreating off of those things using context of the actor starts at this point in the room and then ends up at this point. Here's what's said, and now fill in between them.
Fill in the in between. Now I get their point. That point makes a lot of sense when you're talking Cleopatra with Theda Bara, because only 1 minute of footage remains.
Right.
I can't create an hour-long movie out of 1 minute. I get that's a valid argument there. But when you're talking about what was the movie we both just watched?
Joanna and Liz, which you'd watched it and I watched it. It's a early Mary Pickford movie, and one of the reels,
half of the third reel is missing.
Right.
That's where AI would be a benefit, is to rebuild that missing.
And they still have photographs. They still have the original
because
script
they have all the
just
stuff that fills in.
The actual film stock.
TCM does a great job of utilizing still footage and doing the films.
Yeah.
So
that was a good one, by the way. I really did like Joanna and Liz. Like, it's not for everybody. It's in 1918, I think. Silent movies are different from 1925 and before, and from 1925 to sound starting a couple of years later. And some people would have a lot of trouble in the stuff pre-1920. I get that, but I definitely liked it. Speaking of, that was one of the things I watched this week.
I kind of crapped on Al St. John a little bit because he isn't one of the silent screen stars.
Is he a listener?
He's an he's an OG Nepo baby.
He's not a listener?
He's not a listener. No. He's an OG Nepo baby, though. He was Fatty Arbuckle's nephew.
Okay.
So that's why he got the role.
And probably it helped him retain some sort of control.
Yes.
And everything. Fatty Arbuckle retained some sort of control and everything, you know?
Yeah. But anyways, that's one thing I watched this week.
A fantastic idea. I did watch, speaking of what have we watched this week, I did watch Joanna and Liz, like I said, Mary Pickford. I'm a big fan.
I didn't like it as much as you. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was great.
I think it's really good, especially because in 1918, the materials that were around then were not as good as that, at least consistent, and the story wasn't as good. It's also...
she plays a beautiful, she plays like the beautiful girl next door version of a floozy.
Yeah. She's like the funny thing is she's like 15 or 16 in the movie.
Yeah.
And she falls in love with all these soldiers who must be in their 20s and 30s, and everybody's okay with that. That's all right.
But we like it because we're just as thirsty as her character was.
That's exactly right. Yeah, but Mary Pickford, the best example is Sparrows. I tell anybody who wants to see a silent movie, it's actually pretty decent, is to see Sparrows. But I did watch that, but I got to say this again because I keep harping on you on it. One battle after another. The second time I watched it, it's more amazing, I think, in some ways, knowing what's happening. I really like it. It's very, very good. I hope more people check it out. It feels like a Babylon where not a lot of people are paying attention to it, but you know.
I know that from the quote unquote film critics circle of the interwebs that Real Talk and Couch Critics lives in on the social medias, it got high praise from all of the people in our circles. So
it should. I do think it's one of the best movies he's made.
Yeah, people who watch film critically are enjoying it.
Right, and that's also he's spending money on VistaVision and all those fancy things that you know.
Of course,
they're trying to make sure that stuff doesn't go out of style. You know, by the way, there's we both grew up in Oregon, and I know, like, especially during the '90s, there was a big focus on like logging.
Yeah,
and we've talked about our, you know, because we were rad and all those things. We were around logging industries, especially in like White City, where we both lived for a while.
My wife's uncle owned Caveman Logging in Grants Pass.
Right.
Like, it's very, very local.
There's a show I just want to throw out there, which it's really beautifully shot, really well done. It's called Last Woodsman, and it's just a small lumber outfit up in like lands. They
Mhm.
have the rights to do some logging of like old growth timber and stuff like that. So they go around and they take down 150, 200-foot trees. Terribly hard to get to places and things like that. It's a pretty incredible show to watch, especially with the audio, because now they have drones, they have so many small cameras, everything else. Watching the trees fall, they make everything quiet, so you just hear the cracking of the tree. It's dangerous. It's amazing. I'm
So
such a huge fan.
so a tree that falls in the woods does make a
It
sound if
does.
no
Well,
one's
if
there.
there's cameras attached to it, they break a lot of
Damn
GoPros in that show.
it. I guess GoPros at $300 a pop is not a huge expenditure.
They're probably buying them in bulk. They're probably getting them for
Right.
half that price. Like, give me another 100. You know what I mean? But anyways, I just want to throw it out there because you and I care enough about it's a pretty fascinating show. The only kind of reality TV I typically like to watch is stuff where people are doing something or have a job of some sort, fixing a car or digging for gold or whatever. And this is a pretty good one. It's done really cinematically, and so it's actually pretty cool for that purposes.
I'm more of a guy. I like to watch old men watch movies.
Right.
That's my kind of reality.
That's basically what we're doing right here.
What we're doing right now. This is what I like. This is what I'm into. This is my
Right.
kind of live. No, Last Woodsman. Yeah, but One Battle After Another is already. It's been on my list. It will stay on my list. I have to watch it.
Yeah.
Last Woodsman sounds like fun.
I just want to have a talk with you about it because I think I don't want it to lose its impact. You know what I mean? But it's also
Sure.
It moves so quickly you don't realize the entire movie's already gone past.
I've been really purposeful in avoiding reading anything about the movie.
Yeah.
When our mutuals online would post about it, I would just look at their final score. I wouldn't read any of their stuff. I would save it and I'll look at it when I get.
You pretty much have a general idea, but you don't know. Like it's really great.
I don't know. I honestly have no idea what's going on other than what I saw in that trailer that made no sense.
It's PT combining three separate, basically, scripts or ideas together into one. Anyway, so there's that. But I also watched the movie. I started following, looking for these. They're called Rubble films. They're the first films made after World War II ended in Germany. There's a series of 5 to 8 of them, I think. They call them the Rubble films. They're really hard to find. I watched one a few while back, which is Strangers Among Us, or I can't remember what it's called, The Spies Among Us.
Yeah, we talked about that.
We talked
there's
about
that really good collection, right?
Yeah. And anyways, there's another one called Berlin Express, which is from 1946, I think. It's also right after. It's not the first, but it's one of the first movies made in Germany, in Berlin. So there's a lot of, obviously, as they said, the director, I can't remember the name, but the director said he couldn't have recreated, it would have cost millions and millions of dollars to recreate the chaos of the buildings down on the ground that they just got for production value in this movie. But the whole general idea for this movie is it's also a murder mystery. So it's these guys all riding on a train from different parts of the world. Now what happened was, after a little tiny bit of historical information, after Germany fell, there was a notion of what is the new Germany going to be like. And so everybody, the United Nations and everybody else, had to come together and decide for them. How is Germany going to be? Are they going to be socialist or democratic or communist? Or are they going to be this? Are they going to be that? They were making these decisions. And so there are these delegates from like the United States and British and France and then Russian. And they are all riding on a train towards like a conference where they're going to have basically these conversations about what's going to happen. And there's somebody gets murdered on the train. And it happens to be this German anti-Hitler guy who has been for rebuilding Germany differently and all these things. But like let's call him the good guy. And so, anyways, they're all involved in this train car where this murder happens. And so the police take all of them and use them like investigate and everything else. But there's the one thing I thought was fantastic. It was 1946, but they all end up trying to solve this murder, let's just say. And you've got the British, the French, American, you've got this Russian guy, and I can't remember if there's another Swedish or something else, that are all literally working together. So it's like an unlikely allies. It's a really early version of this mismatched, unlikely team of people being together trying for one purpose. But it has one of the funniest throwaway jokes I've seen that lasts so much longer, which is it's chaos in Germany and the train stations are nuts, and this Russian guy is showing how amazing it is and all these things. And he bought an artifact, he says, which is like a signed order signed by Adolf Hitler. And he says, "This is rare. This is
Yeah.
one of a kind. I bought it at a train station. Some guy was selling his whatever."
Yeah.
And he shows his name. And he goes, "It says Adolf Hitler." And then quietly in the background, one of the British guy, I think, says "name dropper," which is so funny. And you barely hear him say it. But
Yeah.
first of all, I didn't know that concept of dropping a name like that goes back to
Yeah.
1946. It's
Right.
so funny. They didn't care that anything else. And obviously later in the movie, they find out that these people are selling these orders everywhere at every train station. So it
Tell
doesn't
me
matter.
again,
But
what was the name of this? What was this one called?
Berlin Express.
Berlin Express.
Berlin Express. It's actually really good. Like I really enjoyed it. I just think this is the kind of movie that it could only have been made at that time period. Because I'm not gonna spoil the ending, but at the end of the movie, like everybody's friends. The Russian is friends with the United States. Like everybody, they hug at the end or whatever.
Found it. I'm gonna look for. I'm gonna try.
Yeah, it's a good movie. That name dropper line, man, that stands out to me.
I love
name dropper. I mean, come on, 1946 and Hitler's name. Come on,
and it's
Christ.
Hitler. Yeah,
and it's Hitler. But anyways, I also I'm sure you got some stuff too, but. I watched about 20 minutes. TCM's doing Citizen Kane.
Yeah,
we don't need to talk about Citizen Kane, but I can tell you, I watched the first 20 minutes. It's probably been 5 years since I sat down and watched it. I've seen it a handful of times. I love it. Obviously, it is what it is. In that first 20 minutes, I realized, again, this is one of the best movies, if not the best movie ever made. Right. In that first 20 minutes, the style, the shooting, the concept, everything about it, absolutely mind-blowing. And I'm going to watch that as soon as we finish here because I have to now at this point.
Yeah. For anyone who hasn't seen it, it's a little long. It's not a fast-paced movie, but the stuff that he does with the camera, the low angle shots, the lighting, the way he does the lighting in the movie with the shadows and playing with the idea of non-linear storytelling. He's pioneering so many things that we take for granted today in that movie.
It's Greg Toland, right? That's the cinematographer on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. But I also watched a movie called Blood on the Moon, which is a neo-noir Western. I know all these movies are pre-1950, for all those people who are in their 70s who like our show. But it's called Blood on the Moon. It's Robert Mitchum. It's Robert Mitchum. I can't remember. There's a whole other cast of people, but it's a Western in a kind of a noir way. It's very good. I think it's directed by Robert Wise. I believe it is.
We are fans of Robert Wise.
We are fans of Robert Wise.
The Star Trek the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, very much. Which he was an editor at the beginning of his career, yet he leaves these 6.5 minute long shots of the Star Trek Enterprise that are just so boring and mind-bogglingly slow. But anyways, Blood on the Moon. It's really good. Yeah. It's the classic story of a hired gun played by Robert Mitchum goes to a town to help this guy who's trying to scam people out of their land, and then finds out that he doesn't want to be part of the bad guys. He wants to be part of the good guys, and he's got a Yojimbo feel to it.
That cast is pretty great with Robert Preston, Walter Brennan.
Walter Brennan. Yeah. It's really good. It's really good. It's smart. It's also got probably one of the best bar fights I've ever seen, in a choreography kind of a way. It's so very realistic. These two guys fight in the bar. I've never seen a bar fight in any Western specifically, but a lot of movies that felt so oh shit, are they really fighting? Is this real? Anyways, that one's good to note. But anyways, what have you been watching?
I also watched a Western. My dad loved the movie when I was a kid, and I saw it there, so I gave it a watch. Quigley Down Under with Tom Selleck, Alan Rickman, Laura San Giacomo. You know what the movie is. Tom Selleck going to Australia as a sharpshooter. But the job that he thought he was taking was they wanted him to shoot and kill Aborigines.
Okay. And I vaguely remember, but I know he didn't like. So they want him. He didn't like what he got called there for.
Yeah. He refuses the job, and he now becomes the target of Alan Rickman and his gang.
And let me ask you a question: support your local sheriff. Isn't the whole notion that James Garner is on his way to Australia?
He's trying to get to us.
Do you think somebody was watching that from the 70s and was like, "Hey, we should make a whole movie where he makes it to Australia"?
He actually gets there.
We need a Magnum PI kind of guy in this thing.
But it's really well shot because it's in Australia. It's the outback. It's beautifully
It's like
the
cheating. Like John
cinematography.
Ford, I always say was
Yeah,
cheating because his vistas,
yeah.
the places he
The
gets to film are
were
just.
beautiful
In
places.
Breaking Bad is cheating because
Right.
those desert shots are incredible.
Yeah,
Like you
they're
can't.
vast and
Yeah.
yeah. Um, Alan Rickman is great. Tom Selleck is great. Laura San Giacomo annoyed the crap out of me in this
Mm,
movie. Her character, she's just like it. It doesn't play. I think she's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the comedy relief, and it just plays annoying.
that's too
It
bad.
was rough for me. Um, but Tom Selleck is very likable because he's Magnum PI, but in the West. And
Right.
Alan Rickman at this point in time, so this is right after Die Hard, right before he plays the Sheriff of Nottingham and Robin Prince of Thieves. He's writing his like I'm evil,
Early. Yeah.
his early bad guy thing, and he does it. He's amazing.
Right.
But
Right.
I just yeah, I think for a movie that came out in 1990, shortly before the rebirth of the Western with Unforgiven, it's a fine movie. But when
Yeah, I
you
definitely didn't care about westerns in 1990.
no, not
I
at
was
all.
pretty far away. Even when Unforgiven came out, I didn't see it in the theater. I don't. Yeah, I don't think I did.
I didn't watch Unforgiven till several years.
I haven't watched it till like 15 minutes ago. I'm just kidding. I
just
watched it a long
just
time.
turned it off to do this show.
But yeah, westerns were pretty far away. But again, I grew up watching my dad watch some of the terrible westerns. But then it
Yeah.
was something like I think The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was honestly the first time
Yeah.
as a grown up enough in my teen years to say this is not
this
what
this is not, yeah.
this is what it can be like. This is pretty goddamn
Right.
amazing.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, that's was he in a Ferrari? Like, does his car have a Ferrari or his horse have a Ferrari emblem? Does he have a black friend who flies a helicopter?
Logo. His
Okay.
horse was the Ferrari logo.
That's what I thought. I got it.
He
that's,
does
that's,
the jump.
That's where the whole idea came from. That
that's it.
That's why they got Magnum PI in a James Garner movie.
Yeah.
I also watched a movie that you might know. Actually, it's called Student Bodies. I think I started it, and we briefly talked about it. It's an early parody film.
Yes.
Right. I finished that whole movie.
So silly.
It's dumb, but it's actually better than I think people remember it being. People should check it out for a really early parody movie.
What I really like about Student Bodies is I love the tools that our slasher uses to kill everybody.
Right.
It's just
there's a whole scene in the tool shop, which I didn't see that's silly and it's fun. And also who was the killer and all those things like that. And they're pretty blatant. It's early. It's more like stuff that came out in like Scary Movie than even Naked Gun. Like it's parody that didn't really get seen again for almost 15, 20 years later with Scary Movie. Not even Naked Gun or any of those kind of movies were doing some of the same kind of, I don't know. It was good. It was better than I thought it would be. I wouldn't say to go out and buy it.
No, but if you come across it, like the whole the day in question. So horror movies, especially around this time, there was New Year's Evil or Halloween or everything was about it. April Fool's Day. Everything was about a day. The day in Student Bodies it's Jamie Lee Curtis's birthday.
Yeah, and they say that right off the top.
Yeah, that's your setup. This is all happening on her so
they put things on the screen like in the very opening shot. The girl walks into a house, closes the door, and then it flashes on the screen and says the door is unlocked. Pay attention to that. Like it tells you, because it's not taking it's not taking itself seriously from the get go, and that in itself is a fun watch.
So you have a slasher who's called The Breather. You have an eggplant murder. Like if you want something that in no way ever takes itself seriously,
it's that.
And is just there to be stupid, absolutely give it a watch. Yeah, it's
much like Scary Movie.
It was technically a box office success back in the day.
Was it?
It was made for like $500,000, and the box office take was $5 million.
Wow, for that time, that's better money back.
45 years ago or so. Yeah.
I only have one other thing I watched. What have you got anything else on your list?
Yeah, I do have two others that I wanted to mention. One was this movie that I think I like. No, I don't think.
You say think you liked? I think I liked it.
I was going to say I think I liked it more than most, and I was going to change that. I know that I liked it more than most. I know that I think that.
Schindler's List.
Yes, exactly.
Way funnier to you than most people.
1995. It was made. It was a like a made for TV thing called Out There, starring Wendy Shaw, who most people will know from like Joe Dante movies like The Burbs. She's the pretty neighbor who's married to Bruce Dern's character.
It's also a
Um,
voice on American Dad.
yeah, she's a voice on American Dad, but you wouldn't recognize her face from that.
No, she's just like the cartoon
She
character,
looks just
right?
like the cartoon. She does kind of the blonde hair and everything.
Yeah.
Rod Steiger is in it. Beautiful Jill St. John, and then the main character is an actor by the name of Billy Campbell. So the story is Billy Campbell plays this guy who is um, he had won the Pulitzer Prize for photography journalism,
Okay.
photographic journalist. He's won, and now he's at some no podunk nowhere newspaper or whatever, and he ends up at this at a random yard sale, and he buys an antique camera. He's got a collection of antique cameras. He buys an antique camera and takes it home.
Does he have a VistaVision camera by chance? I know somebody's looking.
No, he's got the old turkey in the straw. Turkey in the straw. For those of you that don't know, turkey in the straw is what what the cameramen would sing to themselves to keep the pace on the old crank cameras.
You know, that old chestnut.
That old chestnut. But anyways, so somehow he's got the camera. He puts the camera down, and something happens. It pops up. Oh, there's film in here. So he goes into his darkroom. And in that film, you see that it is a case of there were aliens. Aliens had abducted Abraham Ben Ruby, who played Kubiak in Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
Okay, with Gerrit Graham. He's the principal on that show, starring Gerrit Graham.
He was. It's like it's part X-Files because of that, but it's also part like direct to video family adventure because it is a very appropriate film because there's no foul language, there's no sexual
What's it called?
content.
Out There
From 1995. It's silly, it's goofy, but everybody in it, you can tell that they had a good time making this movie, and that makes me have a good time watching it. So I'm sure I liked it more than most.
Right.
It's goofy, it's odd, it's silly. But
you watch Mac and Me, you can tell the McDonald's executives are having a really good time with that movie.
We're hitting a home run right here, baby.
More Ronald McDonald.
But yeah,
Out There, huh?
I enjoyed it. It's called Out There from 1995. It's streaming on Tubi.
It seems like that would be a hard one to get the title clear for. Like there would have been a bunch of movies.
How many other
Out
There's are out there?
Yeah.
But
that's amazing.
The last thing I watched, now you mentioned it, because I drove the car right up to it so that you had to mention Gerrit Graham. I watched 1976 Cannonball. So it is a Cannonball Run type of movie.
I think it's the first was a Cannonball with an exclamation point. Is that right? Cannonball with an exclamation?
It didn't even have an exclamation point, but it is a Roger Corman movie, so it feels like it needs an exclamation point.
Yeah, that's true.
But it stars David Carradine and Gerrit Graham. But it's all about it's one of those PG rated cross country races with all the shenanigans going on. But
done to perfection by Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, and the cast in Cannonball Run 1 and Cannonball Run 2.
Yeah. It's very much a Smokey and the Bandit Cannonball Run thing. Carradine is doing his best Frankenstein without a mask thing that he repeats that he did in Death Race 2000. Also a Corman movie, but
it was made the year before this, so it's probably where
it was very back to back. Right at the very beginning of the movie, like minutes into the movie, you almost feel like you're going to be watching Death Race 2000 because David Carradine is driving his car and he gets a bullet right between the eyes, and then he wakes up from a nightmare. But this is literally 2 minutes into the movie. I'm not spoiling anything, but he takes a bullet right between the eyes, right at the beginning of the movie. And then he pops awake. And I was like, oh, he's going to turn into Frankenstein. That's how it happened right there.
Right. Right.
But no, it's silly, but it's so much fun to watch the late 60s, early 70s era cars. And it's a lot of fun. Like the only way it could have been better is if instead of David Carradine, you had the king of cool himself, Pat. Why was I going to call him Pat Garrett?
Pat Garrett.
Bullet. Steve McQueen. The only way
Yeah,
it
but
could have been better is
he
if it was
wouldn't have done
CG.
it. He
But
wouldn't have done that
it is
material.
very Corman,
Yeah.
but it's Corman without the boobs, so it's rated PG.
Oh,
So
I'm not
it's
gonna watch
tame
it that.
It's
Hmm.
well, Corman did all. Well, I think Corman made it because he still had days left on Carradine's contract and the cars. So
And he
he's
had a bunch
like,
of
no,
cars.
we already
Yeah.
did the death race. Let's do the
Right.
family version next.
Right.
And while I don't have any proof that that is true, it really
That seems
feels
like
that way
it.
when you watch this movie.
Let me ask you a question. I'm not as familiar, but Roger Spottiswoode is a director.
Huh?
And I happen to have watched Turner and Hooch, at least the first half of it.
Right.
We had a show recently where we
Yep.
were talking about animal pairings, animals and people and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then I actually watched another movie, which I've been looking for. It's harder to find, but I saw it as a kid and I really liked it. It's my first real introduction to Sidney Poitier and Tom Berenger and Kirstie Alley. It's called Shoot to Kill.
Okay. I haven't seen this one.
So the movie is from like 87, 88, something like that. And basically it's this, it starts in San Francisco. There's like a jewel store robbery, and this criminal you never see is the Sidney Poitier is an FBI agent, and he's trying to talk him down, trying to negotiate this guy to give up and put his hands up and let his people go, but he doesn't. The guy kills somebody and then somehow escapes and gets out. And the guy's gone. Sidney Poitier is determined to catch the guy who killed the hostage that he was trying to save. And so goes up to like the Pacific Northwest, and the guy has, for whatever reason it happened, had snuck his way into like a wilderness camping trip, fishing trip, with this group of guys who go off with a guide deep into the woods, like deep into the woods, through really hard terrain.
While they were out there?
It feels like that kind of area. They actually do reuse a couple of shots from First Blood, if I'm telling you the truth.
That's what it's feeling
and
like.
they film in some of the same areas, to be honest with you. But I always liked the movie as a kid. First of all, it was the first real introduction to Sidney Poitier. He's kind of funny. He's older, Sidney Poitier. Kirstie Alley is the guide who takes these guys up, and then she's married to like Tom Berenger or whatever, who's another guide who is not with the group.
She's married to Tom Berenger in this, and at the end of Cheers, they get married.
Oh, spoiled Cheers for me. But anyways, so a couple of things that came out of this, because I watched it. I've been looking for this movie. I just had to buy it on DVD because I wanted to show it to Mel. And I remember liking it so much as a kid for multiple reasons. First of all, I realized in watching this that the woman I think I was attracted to, or what I find attractive in women in general, in physical appearance, a lot of it's based on Kirstie Alley. Like, I don't know what it is. It must have been a pivotal moment in my life where dark brunette hair, long flowing hair.
There's
funny.
Something about it, like the 1987 Kirstie Alley, Alyssa Milano, because we were the age of Alyssa Milano, so we wanted a Kirstie Alley that looked like that's the model right there.
Right.
I see that. That's for sure.
Yeah, and Cheers also is simultaneously. She was very funny and stuff in that. The movie's actually really good. I mean, it's got a few flaws and stuff in it, but it's a really good, the cat and mouse. Tom Berenger has to help Sidney Poitier track down this group of guys that don't know there's a murderer and a thief in their group. He's posing as one of them. It's actually really good. It's very much worth watching. But in the weird
Disney movie.
No, is it? Buena Vista?
Buena Vista, yeah.
Huh. Well, they were doing a little bit. But anyways.
Buena Vista, so for those that don't know, Buena Vista was the arm in the 80s and 90s arm of Disney that would do more adult-themed pictures. That was the production arm that was not doing family fare. That's where The Color of Night came from.
Let me put it this way. So just not to spoil anything. But the bank robber killer guy, or the jewel thief, embeds himself with this group of like 5 or 6 guys, and they cast all named people in this group. So you wouldn't know as a viewer watching it who is who. So you're suspecting all of them at different points. Like, oh, he's creepy. He must be the guy. Anyways, just throwing that out there. It's very good.
Clancy Brown. You've got Richard Mazer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's quite the cast list for sure.
The thing I thought about it is, in a weird way, it leads into what we were going to discuss today, which is Kirstie Alley in this very wilderness, rugged role that she's playing. She's
Right.
literally like their guide and knows the woods and starting fires and trapping beavers and stuff. And that's so out of the normal character that she's played.
Yeah.
I think anything else to be a
Right.
wilderness,
But 1987, she had done like Madhouse, and she had started on, and she hadn't even started on Cheers yet, or maybe it was just about to start on Cheers.
I think she had started Cheers.
Just started on Cheers,
but even still,
Cheers,
like, it's very different role for her. Like, if you see it, she's
absolutely.
rugged in this, and she's tough, and I don't know, it just doesn't quite fit anything else. Which, ironically, we talked last week about Mad Dog and Glory, right? About how, in that sense, that there was this role reversal.
Yeah.
Famously, that Bill Murray plays the gangster and Robert De Niro plays like the timid police officer. So I made a list. I'm sure you did also.
I did.
Very organically of movies where actors are playing against type or against traditionally what they've done. I mean, I have a list. I imagine you do, right?
Of course.
One of the things I and this came up when I was thinking about it. I'm sure you think the same thing, which is I had to veer away from character actors dramatically.
Yeah.
Because they're always playing. Like, I wouldn't say, like, Johnny Depp's not really a pirate, so he should be on my list. You know what I mean? Like, that didn't make any sense. So
right. Yeah, and I don't have any. I have some characters on here, but none of them are actors. No.
Right. Well, that was like Jim Carrey in the number 23 popped up my list, but I'm like, but he plays a lot of characters. Like, that one is darker than normal.
I thought about Jim Carrey and the number 23, but like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, because there was depth to it. But he had already shown maybe that he could, like, but yeah, you're right. He's more of a character.
Yeah, it's not like he's not Andy Kaufman, so he should be on the list.
But holy cow, did he become Andy Kaufman?
He did become Andy Kaufman. I had the same problem when Tom Hanks, because I wanted to do Road to Perdition.
And that's on my list because Road to Perdition is the only outlier where he's kind of the bad guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, he doesn't ever, like, he's done depth. He did.
You don't think he's the bad guy in Forrest Gump?
Well,
I see. So you're against the Vietnamese? You are against the Vietnamese army?
No, I think Bubba. That movie should have been about Bubba.
Yeah, that's true.
No, but he is completely the bad guy in that movie. He is not a good person, and he so often was. But there was another one that. So Tom Hanks is on my list, but he had started showing before he did Road to Perdition. He showed that he had depth by doing things like Philadelphia, Saving Private Ryan, and he showed something. But there
character actor work. Yeah.
Character actor work. But there is one guy who was considered the gangster of all gangsters, white heat, I Made It Mom, Top of the World, Jimmy Cagney. And then he comes out and does a comedy musical called Yankee Doodle Dandy, wins the Oscar for it, and completely reinvents his image.
Yep.
But he was the hard-boiled, like, gangster.
Little dude, too. If you watch those old movies, like Public Enemy, and the guy punches up because he's like 5'1", and he's punching guys like 6'2", and they're all like afraid of him. He's slapping them around. You're like, dude, the guy is a foot and a half shorter than you are.
And he was always trying to get Joan Blondell into bed.
Yeah.
So
I love Joan
James
Blondell.
Cagney, but then I also thought of the reverse of James Cagney, another a little bit couple of years further into the future, but he was America's Nice Guy, Henry Fonda, and then he does Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah, which
is icy blue eyes and the cold-blooded kill. Like, it was
it upset people, to my understanding.
Yeah,
because Henry Fonda had always played the noble, the hero, the good guy, the Gregory Peck character, like in all these movies. And then in this movie, he's this cold, heartless killer. And when there's a killing scene right at the beginning, and you establish that he's this bad guy. And then he, all of a sudden, his face is up there and his bright blue eyes, so everybody realizes who it is. And I think people apparently were pretty upset.
Pretty upset about it, yeah.
You know,
and
like
there is something about
the definition of playing against type. Yeah,
that shot you're talking about, though, when it zooms in on his icy blue eyes.
Yeah,
that is a
little smirk
shot.
He's got a little smirk.
That smirk, yeah.
I know. It's almost like Sergio Leone is a decent director.
He was
Like,
like he knew what he was doing.
it's almost like he could tell a pretty good story.
Yeah,
I find that one the quintessential use of the against type, but also like Adam Sandler. Now there are a few like people say uncut gems. I think legitimately Punch Drunk Love is the only real departure because it's a timid, quiet.
He doesn't have the manicness about his character in that.
And it's held in and it comes out and bursts. That's the whole character, right? Which Punch Drunk Love is I love it. It's a great movie.
P.T. Anderson.
PT, but it definitely gave me a new respect for Adam Sandler. It also showed me that this guy can act. Why is he doing the ridiculous six? Like if he can do it,
and we've said it a million times on this show. The reason I don't like Adam Sandler is because he absolutely has the ability, and chooses to be dumb. But that's a great one. He does, and he's got a new one that's coming out with George Clooney that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I've heard mixed reviews from people who have seen some early stuff.
I'm mostly out on it because it's a Netflix original and that irritates me. But
yeah, that's also true.
What are some others that you
have? Again, in coming up with my list, I thought about somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, first, the action star of the 1980s, doing comedy in general was not was new to everybody.
Oh yeah.
And then I think like Kindergarten Cop, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about that, oddly enough, is that he is playing against type, but in the beginning he's playing the normal type. He's the tough, streetwise cop, tough guy who is then softened throughout the movie. So I don't know if that counts, but he does play the majority of the movie dramatically against type.
Right.
And he does that in Twins too.
And he does Twins that really reinforce
is fully against and stuff like that. But he stands out because he was, I think, the first. He was in the 80s. He was a juggernaut action star in the 80s. My favorite actor. When I was a kid, he was the only actor I actually gave a shit about.
Well, and the fact that he did Kindergarten Cop and Twins is the reason that Sylvester Stallone does Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. And look how that worked out.
I still say my mom, my sister, and I saw Oscar, and I left the theater, and I said I liked it, and they thought it was horrible. I haven't watched it again, but I bet I'll still like it. I bet I'll still think it's okay.
I watched it. I didn't see it in the theater. I rented it from Blockbuster because I was a kid of the 80s, just like you. I liked Rambo. I liked Rocky. Now he's going to do something funny. I'm in. I was so confused by Oscar. I've never tried it again.
I remember a lot of those running around sequences, like Coming to America famously had it when King Jafar or whatever shows up with his entourage at the McDowell's house. And then, what's his name? John Amos? John Amos is running all around the house trying to like get stuff for them, and like they're playing that kind of music. Like, that's what I remember Oscar being. Right. And I can see why it seems dumb and cheesy now.
Yeah.
But I liked it.
I might have to give it a second. I might have to give it a second viewing. But
so do I, because I liked it, but maybe I also didn't want to be like my mom, my sister. Maybe I was like, I want to be different.
You mentioned just a little bit ago we were talking about comedy and whatnot, and you mentioned the Zucker and Abrams. But Leslie Nielsen, he had always been a serious dramatic actor. He does Airplane, and now he's got a whole new career for the next 25 years.
Right.
As the deadpan comedy icon. Like
he is the example. He is the standard that all these people in these movies are holding to. He's the only one who understood the material, because all the other actors in Airplane were also mostly dramatic actors who didn't quite understand. They kept trying to play it silly and funny. Right. They had to be reined in, and he was the only one who understood exactly what they were going for.
Which is why, like, Julie Haggerty, that's why she is so successful in there, because she was a comedian. Yeah. And she knew that I have to play this as straight as, like, I'm trying to win an Oscar for dramatic role in this part. Yeah. That's what makes
Don't act, funny. Don't be funny. Yes. That's really what it is. Don't do either one of those things. Yes. But the opposite of that is when you have a comedic actor, like, and I can with Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo. Yep. Now, it also is Insomnia.
I have 1 Hour Photo, Insomnia, and to a lesser degree, Good Will Hunting.
Yeah. When he's not only playing dramatic, but playing 1 Hour Photo, he's playing a creepy character. And I don't think people enjoyed that. And that's a weird switch for him, but I liked it. I thought he did a good job with it. I don't think the material was up to what he was doing.
Yeah, when I remember the first time I watched 1 Hour Photo, and you meet that character at his job, and there
Right.
was something so off-putting, I had to stop for a second.
Not just the blonde hair, right? Didn't he
Not
have
just the
blonde hair
blonde
in it?
hair, just there wasn't there he was off. There was an oddness, and I had to stop and regulate. And I'm like, okay, this isn't a Robin Williams, because I watched it after Insomnia, so I had already
Right.
seen Insomnia, so I knew that he could do this. I'm like, okay, this is not Fisher King. This isn't
Right.
Patch Adams. I need to
He's
get in a
not
different
riffing.
mindset.
He's not
Yeah,
all over the
he's
place riffing and
yeah,
high energy.
he's very
He's
subtle,
Yeah, and I think
very
because
low
we
end.
know that of him
Yeah,
is who he is,
yeah,
seeing him play restrained and quiet and timid is way scarier. You know what I mean?
yes,
It's like if you're in a fight with somebody or whatever and they're quiet and not really and reserved and holding back, then you might want to be afraid because they might be the one who has the gun.
right.
You know what
They
I mean?
just might
They're
be.
the ones to be afraid of. But then you have the so I think that was awkward for people to see, but also like Fred McMurray going back a little bit in Double Indemnity, and also he's a sleaziest CEO in The Apartment.
Yep.
But
Oh,
he
yeah.
he played in hated it. Like he was
Yeah.
always the good guy role in all these movies. Took a couple of roles that where he wasn't, and
Right.
the audiences, especially at the time, they didn't have other reference points. They didn't see
Mhm.
him on panel shows.
Absolutely.
They didn't see him talking to Johnny Carson or
Other-
Steve Allen or know
Right.
Jimmy Fallon. He didn't play some silly game with Jimmy Fallon. You know what I mean?
No, he
And
never
so
did.
they all they knew was what they see, and you have this really good guy, and all of a sudden he's a sleaze bag in The Apartment. He hated it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's a very good example of somebody trying to show range and it's not accepted.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
and like there's something so great about seeing Fred McMurray in those roles, in
Right.
specifically Double Indemnity.
Yeah. You're
It's
supposed to trust him.
yes,
He's the good
well,
guy.
and that's who we know him from, Absent-Minded Professor, from everything else he had ever done. That we like you. This and Billy Wilder plays on that. You're supposed to think that, and I'm
Yeah.
going to pull the rug. And it was beautiful.
It's such a good movie too. I'm a Medford man. That's where I'm from.
Um,
I'm from Medford,
so
Oregon.
I actually
I'm
saw
a
this.
Medford man.
I saw this really cool interview with the
That
director
character
of
who says that?
Jumanji,
Oh.
the director of Jumanji.
The
I was just thinking of
old
Robin
the
Williams.
okay, the old
The original
90.
Robin Williams
Got it.
from 95. Yeah. The studio was not going to make the movie unless they got Robin Williams to play the role. He didn't like the script, so he said, I don't think I'm going to do it. Well, they said, well, what would we have to do for you to do this? And he's like, well, here's
Add
what
2
my thoughts.
zeros to the paycheck.
No, so he had some
Just
ideas
kidding.
for the script. They went and rewrote it. He liked what they did, and they brought it back. And but when he came back, they told him, he was like, well, I'm Robin Williams. I ad lib, I riff, I do these things. They made a deal with him. How about this? We will film it exactly as it's scripted. Joe Johnston told him, I'll film it exactly as it's scripted. And
Joe
then
Johnson.
once we cut that, then we'll go back and you can riff all you want. And that's what they did. And he said in some of the riffs, Robin Williams did an entire scene. He sang the whole thing. Like I just thought that
And
was
so you're saying there is hours and hours of great footage
of Jumanji.
of Robin Williams
Yes.
in Jumanji having
Yes,
fun.
like he
on
was
set.
he said he went on a tangent singing about Ethel Merman as though she was a part of Jumanji. And I'm like, where is that deleted scene?
Right.
That's the one that I want. But
Yeah. Ethel Merman. She's also in Airplane.
she is.
You'll be great. You'll be swell. I watched an Esther Williams movie the other day, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I love Busby Berkeley stuff, and I happen to watch an Esther Williams one, but I don't think it's the best one, $1 Million Mermaid. It was pretty grueling. Like Mel and I fast forwarded through big chunks of it, which is
Really?
not our normal MO. We'll
yeah.
sit through the 1912 Cleopatra, which is 2 hours and 45 minutes
Right.
or an hour and 90, whatever it is. But we'll sit through that. But like, it was just 1950s not great. It's a true story of some. Anyways, I hold back. I'm sure there's a better one. If anybody knows a better Esther Williams movie, especially any Busby Berkeley stuff where there's some really great
shout it
arrangements and choreography, I'd like to check that out. I don't know the best one to see. I know there's a few out there that, but anyways, I hold back. Another, by the way, I came out and I was thinking about Gary Oldman in True Romance, and I shouldn't, because he's very much a character actor. But that character is so far removed from not only reality, but it just stands out to me as awkward and
but he is like, he does Unhinged better than just about anybody in Hollywood right now.
Yeah,
he is so good.
We've discussed the line in The Professional, where he yells really loud, "Everyone!" Right, or whatever he says.
Yeah, he's.
Anyways,
I mean, he played Sid and Nancy. Like,
that's true. He's character,
He's character.
So that's why he shouldn't be on here. Yeah. But Heath Ledger obviously stands out.
Oh yeah,
because and I almost think for the gay cowboy movie, but maybe not. But he plays he plays these roles. But then The Dark Knight is very much like Michael Keaton playing the Batman. That is, it didn't make sense. It was a complete 180.
Yeah.
And I guess Bruce Willis in Die Hard for most people, because we think of Bruce Willis differently, but at the time, if in an actor who hasn't established themselves film-wise, Bruce Willis had only done like Blind Date. So I don't think that's different, because that became who he was after.
Well, it was Blind Date, and he had done Moonlighting. That's pretty much what we knew him for.
And so that's what people thought of him. But like Heath Ledger had established himself in a lot of these teen movies, a lot of rom-com kind of. He was the heartthrob guy. He was trying a little bit of some more experimental stuff, and then to turn around and do The Dark Knight was a huge departure. And extremely successful. The fact that people not only were so enamored with his performance and held it up and everything else, it's just a shame he didn't even get to see the praise living on for many years after. I mean, I remember thinking that, like everybody else did, like Jack Nicholson's The Joker is so very good. How can you possibly top Jack Nicholson? And now I'm like, Jack Nicholson's is campy and kind of silly, and Heath Ledger gave it some grounding, and he's very, very good.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, Heath Ledger's but speaks in that similar kind of a tone. Cameron Diaz in Being John Malkovich.
Yeah.
She did that neurotic, frumpy, weird character in
not There's Something About Mary, Pretty Girl.
Right. And the same thing Charlize Theron did it when Charlize Theron, hers isn't the same because she also
is character a little bit.
She was, and I was gonna say she's kind of my edge, like the very edge that I would go, because she had done the Devil's Advocate with Keanu and Al Pacino, and she's great in that. She had done those things, but something about Monster was a different level of act.
Completely. She's playing a psychopath.
Yeah.
She's playing a murderer, all those things. That's insane. And there's just outside of those things, there's roles that people play, like Albert Brooks in Drive is extremely against type. He's a thug, he's a gangster, he's an asshole in the movie, and not in the fun Albert Brooksy doing a mime on Johnny Carson, silly fun way. It's not him doing a voice in The Simpsons of Hank Scorpio. He's this brutal thug guy who is fearful. Like everybody's afraid of him for a very specific reason,
And just like Albert Brooks, but in TV, Bryan Cranston doing Walter White was such a departure from anything he had ever done before. But only he could have done Walter White. I don't care what anybody says. Matthew Broderick wasn't going to do it.
No, there is no other.
I know the stories are out there that's who they were going for, but
but Vince Gilligan was never going to go with anybody.
That's what I'm saying. That was never going to happen. That was
a show. Breaking Bad, for the show that like Jesse was supposed to only be on for a very brief bit. And the show just kind of like built and created itself as it went along, and now it's. That's when you're so talented, your writer's room and your production team, that they not only can see the gold through the bushes, but that they can swerve and move plan. Because if they had stuck with like their original plan just because they were locked into that, they wouldn't have been the same show.
No, but
Anyways, Bryan Cranston's a hell of an
yeah,
example. There's a few
yeah,
TV ones that
yeah.
stand out, but like I was thinking about Marlon Wayans in Requiem for a Dream.
And just and then just now he did that movie Him, where it's only like the second time he's gone back to that dramatic well.
I haven't
He
seen it. Have you?
is a great actor.
That's the
I
one that's
haven't seen him. I've been
produced
told that it's a
by
really
Jordan
bad
Peele.
movie, but he's great.
Yeah.
It's Jordan Peele was the producer. Yeah. But yeah, I love Marlon Wayans. He is a fantastic actor and just happens to be really funny.
Yeah, he can do extreme funny stuff.
Yes.
He's anyway all those things, but he was so
Mm-hmm.
great in A Requiem for a Dream. But it's also such a great movie with such a great
So good.
director and everything
Yeah.
else. Then speaking of Cheers, like Woody Harrelson doing Natural Born Killers.
Natural Born, and following Natural Born Killers up with The People versus Larry Flint.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about taking a left turn.
Right. And showing range and everything
showing
else.
that you could do it. Yeah.
But Natural Born Killers, that came out in what, 80, 90?
91 maybe?
Yeah, something like that. So
91.
Was Cheers still on?
Cheers was on until 93. So he did it in
he was still doing that and playing Silly Woody Boy. I mean, that's insane. I don't remember. I wasn't old enough. I was in my early teen years.
We are wrong. Natural Born Killers was 94. So Cheers
right
ended,
after.
and that's what he did. That's where he went.
He went specifically to go from I'm not this character
that I am
Woody
not
Boy
Woody
on
Boy.
Cheers. What is the opposite 180 direction to that? And he said, "How about a serial killer?" And then he goes, "Where's Quentin Tarantino's script that we can mutilate?"
Right.
And speaking of Quentin Tarantino, like Robert De Niro and Jackie Brown, by the way, very different than another Robert De Niro. And Robert De Niro is not a character actor in my mind. So seeing him play,
he is an actor's actor.
Right. Very much.
What about Robert Downey Jr. in the Ben Stiller movie?
Oh, Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder.
He's definitely not black.
He definitely is. It's going against type.
Yeah, I was going to use Leonardo DiCaprio and What's Eating Gilbert Grape and say he's not special.
He's not special.
I mean, not really, but
he's a special actor. He's not special. No, the last one that I have on my list is similar to what you said about Woody Harrelson coming off of Cheers, but it's Daniel Radcliffe coming off of Harry Potter and going into things like the horns, the horror movie that he did, Swiss Army Man, the flatulating dead guy.
Very true. With Paul Dano.
With Paul Dano. No, Quentin, I don't get Quentin's take on that, but I'm not going to go down that. We already posted that on the interwebs. We already went through that. We're moving on.
Look 2 months ago and post, and you'll find it. I think, I don't know, sometimes I guess it's used to reinvent. Jamie Lee Curtis in Everything Everywhere All at Once came up in some of my research and my thinking about this, which is an extremely different character that she's ever played. It's an unattractive, unappealing. It's different than who she'd ever really played before, which I thought was brave. Andy Griffith in A Face in the Crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Because he had always played, and this was so early in his career. Yeah, it was early enough in his career, so I don't know if I would count it as much, but he plays this manipulative, self-centered, terrible person who's leading this group of people for financial benefit and everything else. And then I have a couple more. One I want to mention, which is it didn't work, which is 1982 Neighbors with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi.
Yeah,
where they were in they were partners basically doing so many things because they were going to be Ghostbusters originally until John Belushi died. But they decided in this movie to kind of like switch the roles around, probably super high on cocaine, where John Belushi is this timid, every working man, father, family man, and Dan Aykroyd's the wild, crazy guy. And this is a couple of years after Animal House. So most people were associating John Belushi with this manic style and this manic kind of character that he liked to play. And so they'd see him as this timid, sweater vest wearing family man, and Dan Aykroyd is this wild, crazy, fun-loving, drunk and party guy and things like that. It's a very off-putting. It's a movie worth watching just so you can see them together. But that's what happens, I think, when it doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
And I guess I had a harder time finding the times that it doesn't work, but I think
Yeah,
that's because you don't, as a casting director, as a film director, I don't think you take the risk on someone who doesn't have obvious range. So the
right.
ones that don't, quote unquote, don't work are, it's that they didn't work as well as maybe it would have with somebody else. So it's just not memorable. It's not bad, but it's just not.
Famously, Eric Stoltz. They filmed how much?
A
3/4, at
huge
least
chunk
half
of,
of Back to
yeah,
the
Back to the
Future.
Future.
They spent millions of dollars doing Back to the Future with Eric Stoltz. It was not working.
Yep.
They were like, "This is bad
This is,
casting. He
yeah,
doesn't.
doesn't work.
He's not Marty McFly."
Yep.
So they paid Michael J. Fox a ton of money to moonlight and do
Dude,
this while he's doing Family Ties on
do
opposite
Family
coasts.
Ties during
The
the
guy was,
day,
and
all
then
day on
flying
Family
out,
Ties, and then
sleeping on the plane, sleeping in the airport, sleeping on the car to the way to the set, getting his sides, getting things like that as he was driving in. He had this whole thing that went on for months. Like, no, it's a miracle.
yes,
The guy turned out all the stuff he did. That shows his ability
yes,
and dedication
how
as an
great
actor.
he was.
Fantastic. But still, the studio said, okay, Zemeckis, you're right. This isn't working.
Yeah,
Here's a couple $1 million to redo all the stuff you've already done. They would never
everything.
do that. So that's when it goes wrong. They catch it.
We don't see it.
It's harder to find ones they don't catch, and I guess those are the ones that kind of disappear into nothing. But there are some that work really well. And the last one I want to mention is Denzel Washington in Training Day, because
Yeah,
that
'cause he's
is
the bad guy.
he's the not only the bad guy, but he is playing a character that, even though it has similarities, he doesn't do character work. You know,
Jim Belushi.
Denzel Washington is not playing clowns in movies. He's not.
Yeah,
He's not doing that. He's not a pirate in Pirates of the Caribbean. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
always Denzel. Like Robert De Niro is pretty much always playing
He's
Robert
always
De Niro.
Robert.
Really, he's not a character actor. And so, as him playing this role, which is not only the bad guy and the antagonist of the movie and all these things like that, but playing it with so much range too, because he's a good actor. But like, that is what happens if you do it really well and you're qualified to do it, and the material makes that stuff work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And because it makes you think, like Brad Pitt is a character actor, because Brad Pitt can get lost in a character.
Yeah. That's
Al
why 12
Pacino-
Monkeys.
Al
Yeah.
Pacino is not getting lost in a character. Al Pacino's Al Pacino.
Helps you.
But
Yeah. Unless he's in Jack
it's
and Jill,
amazing.
then he's
well,
trying not
then
to
it's-
be in there.
Then it's different. But
But
uh,
I was thinking about so
you actually made me think of one just now, and it's a different kind of 180. Jennifer Aniston in Horrible Bosses,
okay, yeah.
because
That's
she's still
very much
playing
not
humor, but she does it the other way completely.
she is not America's sweetheart
She
in
is
that.
not America's sweetheart.
I mean,
in
she
Horrible
is. She's, very,
right, but
very good looking and attractive and sexual and
right.
erotic
But she
and
does it
alluring.
in a completely different way.
She's kind of a mean character
She
too.
is.
She's a horrible boss. Anyways, those are such good movies.
They
I
really
forget
are.
about those all the time.
Ooh. Yeah.
I know it's a little bit of a broad idea, but I was thinking about this, and that I would think about movies about like movies focused around police officers, specifically because of Training Day. Is
Yeah.
movies about cops, like I watched Turner and Hooch and like
Yeah.
those things. I know it's a very broad category, but those are police
Yeah.
investigations and things like that. I think that's a topic we could discuss next week if you're
Yeah,
interested.
I think that's a great idea. Police officers can be fun, because there are, like you said, it's a broad category. So there's a lot of tangents we can go on.
Dude,
And because
Naked
we
Gun.
don't do a Wednesday pitch meeting or anything, we're going to come at this from our own sides, and we're going to have
Yeah.
some lists.
Yeah, they're gonna vary. I know they will, because
Yeah.
it's a broad enough category.
Yeah.
One of us will have Naked Gun, and one of us will have
Police
I
Academy
don't know,
6.
In the Heat of the Night. Yeah, Police Academy
Ooh,
6.
in the heat of the
The Police Academy movies alone. But
As a
anyways, I don't
whole.
know, just cop movies about focus on police officers and investigations or anything,
Yeah.
just in general. I
Yeah.
think there's something there, because I listened to an episode we talked about End of Watch, in the found footage
Yeah,
episode,
with the found
and it
footage
made me
episode.
think like it's harder to sometimes see the cops as the heroes in some of the movies I watch because I'm watching heist movies
Yeah,
and crime movies and stuff,
that-
and usually the cops are the ones you're trying to
and
not
that's
win.
the first thing that I'm thinking in my head because you bring up Training Day. Denzel Washington is a police officer. He is
Yeah.
not a good guy. And
Yeah.
so many times the movies that we watch, like Police Academy, the police officers are bumbling and stupid,
But
or
the
they're
heroes.
straight out bad, or they are the bad guy. They are not
Yeah.
good people. So that, yeah. I think that's
Famously,
fun.
Quentin Tarantino in Reservoir Dogs, when they Mr. Orange shows up, and Harvey Keitel asks him like, "Hey, how'd you get out of there?" He goes, "I shot my way out." And he goes, "You kill anybody?" He goes, "A couple people." And he goes, "A couple of cops." And he goes, "Any real people?" Which is what a horrible fucking line. I love you, Quentin. Jesus, man.
I don't
Any
agree with
real
all
people?
your takes on Paul
No,
Dano.
no.
But
Yeah.
Well,
That's a fitting line for that character. I understand. I'm not.
I do have to say, I have one thing that I'll say about Quentin Tarantino's take on Paul Dano before we wrap it up. He said Paul Dano is the weakest actor in SAG, and I just want Quentin Tarantino to remember that he is a member of SAG and not a very good actor.
I'm sure Pauly Shore is too, right?
Come on,
Yeah,
Rob Schneider is in SAG.
Right.
I'm not saying.
Right.
But yeah. So that's going to do it for another trip to the couch. Thank
Something
you
like
all
that.
for joining us and listening through. I'm really excited after this conversation. I actually jotted down 4 things that I'm going to go search out. Obviously, One Battle After
Police
Another.
Academy 6 and
Yep.
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List, Police Academy is 6, One Battle After Another. No, Berlin Express, Blood on the Moon, and Shoot to Kill.
Yeah. Shoot to
I'm
Kill's
gonna
really
go
good.
See what I can do to get my hands on those or find someone.
Find time to watch
But
One Battle After Another.
One
I
battle.
just want to hear your thoughts.
I gotta find a way.
One of these coming weeks. But this is coming out like 6 weeks. Everybody's like, "Well, just watch it on Netflix for Christ's sake."
I've not watched it yet. It's been streaming for.
You saying you don't have time for
It's
it?
on HBO Max by Netflix.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a whole nother conversation.
That's next week's conversation.
But if you like what we're doing here, make sure you're following us on all the socials: Instagram, Threads, YouTube, TikTok, where we post daily film histories, 3 clues, 1 movie, among other clips and random shenanigans, and usually my opinion, but hopefully soon Dave's opinions on just the things that are coming up in the world of film and entertainment. Check us out there. If you enjoy our podcast, make sure you rate it, leave us a review, let us know what you like or what you would like us to talk about.
Give us some validation
and
validate us as always. We need it.
Because you know what? I say validate us because we do this for you, but I got to be honest, Dave and I would be having these conversations whether we recorded them or not. However, It is so much more fun if we get your voices and your opinions in here as well.
Very much.
But it makes it more fun because when I get a comment from Big Meanie or we get a new subscriber that drops a line saying, "Love what you do," it just puts a little hits my giddy up, makes me feel good. So we appreciate
Thank you for that.
We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
But with that, Dave, how do we get out of here?
Oh, I don't know. Something about a couch and 2 guys and our opinions and, all that good
here are the
stuff.
Couch Critics. We're never yucking your yum.
Never.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.